money with secure money. I'm Rebecca Powers. So happy to be with you at home. And of course, Brian Quaranta, the CEO and founder of Secure Money Advisors. We're just going to talk again. I always say this every week. The word secure is in the name of your business and the name of the show, because you learned very early on. It's about keeping the money you have earned.
Yeah. Safety first, right?
Safety
at
first.
the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the stock market, but too many people are risking money they cannot afford to lose. So there's a balance there, especially as you get closer to retirement, right? There's always a portion of money that probably should be more safe, right? With no risk to principal.
Absolutely.
And then there's a portion that you could risk, but most
to get those gains.
To get those gains, right? And the reason, maybe, but the reason for that is because you got to look at what's happening right now. If you go back 30, 40 years ago, retirement planning was actually pretty simple.
Right.
Because when you retired, you got a Social Security check, and then you got something called a pension.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this before, right? It was 1978.
Yes, Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, that where we saw the 401k created.
Pensions went away.
Pensions went away.
They put the onus on us, which is insane because they never teach us how to do anything.
Correct. So now we've got 85 to 90% of the people retiring today without any pensions.
Yes.
So you talk to most people who are getting ready to retire, and the first question you ask is, are you going to have enough money with just Social Security to maintain your lifestyle? The answer is no.
Or who knows?
You know, the answer is no. For most people, it's no. So, okay, so where are we going to get the income from? Well, let's just logically think about it. If I need income from my investments, and I've got 100% of it in the market, and the market's not performing well, okay, and you need, let's say, $2,000 a month, what are you going to do when the market goes down? Because if you continue to take that money out while the market's down, you're just going to compound your losses. You want to know what the answer is from the big box firms to that problem?
Yeah.
Take less money. Well, how are you going to take less money if you needed to pay your bills and live the lifestyle you want to live?
Sell your house.
That's their answer.
Eat less.
Yeah, eat
Sell
less.
Your house.
Save money on gas.
Drive less.
Save money on groceries. Well, it's up 100%. I mean, you can't. So there's just ridiculous recommendations over here when it comes to risk money. That's why we believe in a two-bucket strategy. You got to create a private pension for yourself first, and we can do that through various different ways. But the most important thing is you've got to protect a portion of your money because you have to protect your retirement.
Absolutely. Now, one of those ways a lot of people don't think of, no one likes paying taxes, but of course we know it's our duty, so we all do it. But I don't think until I started doing this show with you, I don't think I realized how much tax money you can save that can literally be your income for years.
Yeah, right. Because what we're really talking about there is purchasing power, right? Because there's two things that are going to erode your purchasing power faster than anything else: taxation and inflation.
Okay.
Because we don't control either of them.
That's right.
Right? Do we get a choice of whether the feds raise interest rates or not? Nope, they get to decide. Yeah. And they can just keep raising them and raising and raising.
And that's what they're doing lately.
Do we get to decide on where the tax brackets are? No, we don't. But in 1978, when the 401k was created and they got rid of the pensions, here's what happened. Everybody was told that if they made this contribution to a 401k plan, that they would get a tax deduction. So they go, wow, I'm going to get a tax deduction right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's great. I get a tax deduction. But now the money's going to grow tax deferred over time, okay?
Okay.
So I'll make it very simple, okay? Let's just pretend we make one contribution and it's $10,000.
Okay.
All right? And it grows to $1 million. If I want to take that $1 million out, I got to pay taxes on it. Matter of fact, if you took all $1 million out at once, you'd probably be in about a 40% tax bracket. So you're going to go $400,000 in taxes. You're going to keep $600,000 of that money. That's how large of a partner the IRS is in your retirement accounts. So
almost an equal partner.
Almost an equul partner. By the way, I wouldn't say too equal because they don't show up for work. They don't even pack your lunch for you.
They don't make you dinner or rub your feet.
They do nothing. They do nothing.
And let's remember, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but another thing, they literally just hired 87,000 new IRS agents.
Yeah. Yes.
To me, that is so clearly saying, we're going after you even more. We owe $32 trillion, so taxes are certainly not going down.
No, they're going to go up.
Those 87,000 are not just going after millionaires and billionaires. They're going after us, the middle Americans.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're taking money out of your retirement accounts and you didn't properly pay taxes on it, or even worse, when you turn 72 and the IRS forces you to take money out of your retirement accounts whether you want to or not, and you forget to do it, let's say you're supposed to take $20,000 out and you didn't do it, they're going to hit you with a $10,000 penalty. It's a 50%.
50%.
50% penalty.
Why are there RMDs, by the way, required minimum distribution? I still don't understand that. Why are they forcing me at the age of 72? Forcing me to take out a certain, what is the percent?
Yeah, well, it's a divisor number that we can
Okay.
convert to a percentage, but it's based on a divisor number. So the divisor number is 27.4. So if you've got $500,000, I know.
27.4
it's
at
crazy.
72,
Yeah.
unless you're 59 and a half. I mean, it's just, go on. I'm sorry.
And by the way, they call this a life expectancy number. So basically what they're saying is you're
Gotcha.
supposed to live 27 more years. So
Okay.
I know, right.
27.3 years. Okay,
yeah,
go on.
Yeah, 27.4.
Oh, gotcha. 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say you have $500,000. You divide that by 27.4, you're going to come up to about $18,500. That's what they're going to tell you need to take, right? That's what's going to come out. Now, that probably equates to about a 3% withdrawal rate, all right?
Okay.
But you got to use the divisor number or you're not going to get the calculation right.
Okay.
You know, some people think, I'm supposed to take out 3% or 4% this year. No, you need to use the divisor number. So why is it that 72 is the age that they force you to start taking money out? Well, they want their tax money. It's a forced way of getting you to start paying taxes. That's why at Secure Money Advisors, we believe in tax planning. And tax planning is something you do now. You don't do it in April, right?
That's a CPA looking a year behind.
Right.
We're looking in the big windshield, looking ahead it's tax plan your whole life, right?
Yeah, you're going to tax plan your whole life. But if I can get the IRS out of the picture, so for example, if I can convert my traditional retirement money that I've got to pay taxes on when I pull it out to a retirement account that's tax-free, like a Roth IRA, okay? Now let's use the example that I used. Let's say I put $10,000 into a Roth retirement account, and that grows to $1 million. If I want to take that $1 million out, I get $1 million. And the only difference was this. In the first example I gave you, you got a $10,000 tax deduction. In the second example I gave you, you didn't get a $10,000 tax deduction. So here's my question. Would you rather pay taxes on the seed or the harvest?
Absolutely.
Right? So
Seed, yeah.
tax planning is so important, and most people don't even think about doing it.
Another thing that you brought to my attention is that I think during President Trump, maybe his administration, they did this new tax break or rule, whatever, that it's sunsetting.
Yeah.
So by 2025, right?
Yep, correct.
That's gone.
Yeah, the tax rates will change, yeah.
So now, I
Right.
guess I'm saying is more imperative than ever to take advantage of it right now. We're almost in 2023.
Yeah, well, remember what I said. The biggest eroders of your wealth are going to be taxation and inflation. So think about it like this. Let's say you need $1,000 a month from your investments. You're in a 20% tax bracket. You take that $1,000 out, you're only going to net $800.
Gotcha.
You can't control tax brackets.
Right.
So if all of a sudden your tax bracket now goes to 30%, that same $1,000 withdrawal is only going to net you $700 a month. So now you're going to have to take more money out, which now causes the problem of, are you going to run out of money later on in retirement? And there's some scary statistics out there, like 40%. Roughly about 40% of the people will run out of money before they die.
And you're powerless, so you're stressed,
Right.
and they say stress is kind of the #1 killer.
Yeah,
Especially on top of all this COVID years and all the stress that we've had.
Right. And, you know, Rebecca, what I see often at the firm is that people have investments, but they don't have a plan to go along with
Right.
it. You know, and that's the fault of my industry. My industry was so used to just transacting investments with people that they never gave them instructions or owner's manual with it.
Yeah.
We want you to have an owner's manual. We want you to understand how to use it, because the money is a utility. It's a tool. It's supposed to do something. Well, the question is, what is it supposed to do in retirement? If you ask most retirees, they're going to tell you that the primary need of that money in retirement is to generate income, whether it be now or later on down the road in their retirement. So you have to have a really well thought out written plan. And that's one of the most important things that we do at Secure Money Advisors, is helping people put together that written plan.
All right, let's tell them how they can meet you and get that wonderful plan.
Yeah, folks, we are all about giving you the Right Track Retirement Review. It truly was designed to help you get clarity and peace of mind when it comes to your retirement. We're going to help you go over 5 key areas when you come in. We're going to help you go over your income, your taxes, your investments, your healthcare strategy, and your estate planning strategy. You are going to get clarity on where you are and where you potentially need to go. It's complimentary. It's no obligation. You're not getting any type of sales pitch when you come in, but you got to do your part. This is not the time to procrastinate, kick the can down the road. Pick up the phone and call us. My team's standing by to get you scheduled. Call 1-888 382-1298. And when you call and schedule, I'm also going to send you a complimentary copy of my book, Right Track Your Retirement, which is a simple plan to help you reduce risk and build income in retirement. It truly will open your eyes up to what a real retirement plan should look like. So schedule your Right Track Retirement Review. It's 1-888-382-1298.
And if you want to ask your 5-year-old grandchild how to use that QR code, it's very simple. You just pick up your phone, point the camera to it. It'll take you right to our landing page. Have your calendar ready. And again, as Brian said, there is no obligation, no cost. Leave your checkbook at home. The first meeting is just a warm conversation to find out your dreams and goals and make your retirement be on the right track. We'll be right back.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
Welcome back to On the Money with Secure Money. I'm Rebecca Power. So happy to be with you. Of course, Brian Quaranta, that gives us so much wonderful complimentary advice. So what I want to know, when people walk in, sometimes you have those really sad, like, I'm sorry, you're 80 years old and you've had all your money in this, but we're going to fix it. We're going to do what we can. But you also, I think, more often have you can retire. As a matter of fact, you're doing great. Look at this. Look at this. Let's give some of those happy stories when people are even better than they thought.
Yeah. Well, I had a lady that was referred to me, single lady, had been divorced for 20 plus years, raised her son all on her own, basically had to pick up and start all over again.
Wow.
And so she came in and she said, a friend of mine had referred me to you, and I need to get to a retirement plan together, and I'm really not even sure if I'm going to be retired. My goal would be if I could retire in the next 5 years, that would be great.
How old was she?
And at that point, she was 62, so she wanted to retire at like 67.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about you and tell me a little bit about how you feel about your work right now. And she says, I'm just really burnt out, a lot of changes going on. I'll hear this a lot from people that are kind of towards the end of their career. A lot of companies are making big changes. They're changing systems, processes. And when you've been with a company for, a long time and you go through many, many changes, and then you get into those later years of your working life.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. You're like, you know what, I'm just done. So I said, well, let's talk about retirement. So you're saying 5 years. If we could get you retired sooner, would you want to do that? She goes, oh my God, that would be amazing, but there's no way that we're going to be able to do it. I said, well, listen, I don't want to give you my opinion. Let's let the math drive the decision, right? Because I don't want to give opinions. Let's let the math drive the decision. So we sat down and we took all of her stuff and we started putting it into our system. Well, one of the things that we have to do in order to figure out whether or not somebody is going to have a high probability of success in retirement is we need to figure out what rate of return they're going to need in order for them to take the money they need out on a monthly basis, and more importantly, to make sure that they don't run out of money.
Right.
So there's 3 rates of returns, and I talk about this in my book. There's 3 rates of returns that we look at. We look at the spend down rate. Now that's a very simple rate of return I'm looking for. All I want to know is if you need a certain amount of money every year, let's say it's $30,000 a year from your investments, what rate of return would that portfolio need to do every single year in order for you to spend that portfolio down by, let's say, the age of 95 or 100?
Okay.
So it would just zero itself out, okay?
Yeah.
because I'm looking for a very bare minimum rate of return. Then I want to know, what's my preservation rate of return? Meaning
Keeping what you've got.
Keeping what you got. So if I've got $500,000 or $1 million, whatever it might be, and I need to take out $30,000 a year, what rate of return does that portfolio need to do in order to maintain its principal?
Gotcha.
And then we want to look for the last rate, which we call the legacy rate, which is if I want to take that same amount of money out, but I still want the balance of the account to grow, what does that rate look like? Now you start to get a parameter. Okay, now you start to say, okay, well, it's 2% on the low side, okay, and it's 5.5% on the high side. So now you know you need to come in, right, somewhere in between on this return. Now, what that does is it helps us evaluate how much risk the portfolio is really going to need, and what type of probability of success the portfolio is going to have. Because if it came back to where she was going to need a 9 or a 10% rate of return, looking at an early retirement was not going to be the thing to do. So her preservation rate, right, where we're not touching any principal at all, for the money that she needed, her preservation rate came in at 3.2% interest. Think about that.
I don't know.
I can go buy I can go buy a guaranteed account right now. Fixed rate account, paying 4.5% right now. So if all she needs is 3.2% to take the money she wants out every single month and preserve her principal, and I can get a guaranteed account paying 4.5%. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Because her income was there. You could guarantee the income each month.
At 4.5%, I could not only guarantee the income, but I could also still grow the money.
And preserve it. You don't
preserve it and grow the balance. Yes, you got it. So, with that being said, I showed her, and we've got a number of spreadsheets that we use to show the math. And it's a really emotional meeting for people. For her, there was a lot of tears of happiness, I would say.
You love that moment, don't you?
I do, because I know after 20 plus years of doing this, I know when I see some statements, and I know where people are, and I know what they're going to need, I can pretty much rough sketch the math pretty quickly in my head about where we're going to be. So what's really neat is she's going to be retiring in 2023.
That's awesome.
So it's so cool.
So she really loves you.
Yeah, she wasn't going to do it. She wasn't going to look at until 2027.
5 more years.
And so now we're retiring in 2023. She's already given notice to her employer. That's the greatest feeling in the world to us. And here's what's really the best feeling. In her case, we didn't have to take any risk to do it.
Really?
No risk to do it. So anyway, those are just some examples, but there's many of those that happen at our office, and it's because of the thorough planning that we do. As a fiduciary, we have the responsibility to deliver a plan that is thorough, well thought out, and covers the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning. But this is why we offer the Right Track Retirement Review, because I want you to find out whether or not you're on the right track. Now, you may find out when you come in that you are on the right track, that you are doing the right things. And you know what? How reassuring would it be to know that you are on the right track? But if you're not doing the right things, if you're not positioned right, when would be a good time for you to find that out? Take advantage of our complimentary Right Track Retirement Review. All you got to do is pick up the phone today and call 1-888-382-1298. Again, it's 1-888-382-1298.
And as Brian said, no cost, absolutely no obligation. And if you'd like that book, call that number for an appointment. They will even mail it to you and pay the postage and handling. So there's absolutely no risk. And that's the word of the day, how we get you into retirement and keep your money secure. Stay with us.
If I could help you increase your income, if I could help you pay less taxes, if I could help you potentially maximize the returns of your investments while reducing risk, reducing fees, if I could help you prepare for a health event, or more importantly, when the good Lord decides to take you home, to make sure that the money you've accumulated over your lifetime goes to your family and to your charities rather than the IRS, would that be worth the time to come in and get a second opinion?
All right, welcome back. I love that story you just told, Brian, about this woman that was able to retire in months instead of 5 years.
Yeah.
And that 60, that decade of your life, if you want to travel and hang out with your girlfriends and your grandkids, that 5 years is a very, very important part. You're never going to be healthier or feel better.
You better believe it. That's right. And that's why I always say, boy, if you can retire sooner, do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Find out.
Sooner. So what's interesting that, part of that story that I didn't tell you was she had been working with an advisor for quite a few years.
Oh.
And I said, why 67? She said, my advisor just keeps telling me I have to keep working. And you want to know what that tells me, Rebecca?
Yeah.
There's no planning being done.
No.
There was just
It was a guesswork.
It was a brush off type of answer, right? There was no calculations done, because if I tell somebody they can't retire, I'm going to show them the problem mathematically on a plan of why it doesn't work and what the challenge is going to be.
Right.
You're not going to get just a broad-brushed answer from me like, you're going to have to work till 67.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that's happened over the
Really?
years, where people come in and they say, well, my advisor said I can't retire for another 10 years, or I'm never going to be able to retire. And I said, well, let's let the math look at that. And we've got very powerful software that do these calculations and figure this out. And that's the one thing that we always hear is, wow, when they sit down with us, we got a big screen TV in front, we bring up their plan on there, and we start to look at what if scenarios, we start to look at the interest rates, we start to look at where they are, and they see the plan come together right in front of them, because we're rolling up our sleeves and we're building it right by them, beside them. And you know what's really great about that? We're not going behind closed doors, doing a bunch of calculations, coming back and saying, here's what you got.
Or a cookie cutter.
Right.
Here you go, next.
Right. How do you learn most? I mean, you go and you go to a party and there's this, plate of really great chocolate chip cookies laying out, and you eat one, and your friend goes, oh, they're great. They're my mom's homemade cookies. They're so easy to make, right? And you try to make them, and you can't make them, right? They come out terrible. But if you sat there with your friend
and watched
you go, oh, that is easy, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's the same thing with retirement planning. That's why we love rolling up our sleeves and working right there with our client, because they get to see how it all comes together. And then they understand it, and they realize it's not as complicated as they think.
It's really not. And that's why I love that you wrote a book, because it was frustrating to you of your industry that it's so complicated. It's so scary and unknown to most of us. Yeah. I love, and I know your clients love this, that when they leave, they get a big binder.
Yeah.
It is your plan.
Yeah, that's right.
So, God forbid, but when you do pass away one day, because we all will, your kids take it off the shelf.
That's right.
They call you.
That's right.
They don't need to call this one and that one, or maybe go to probate or wonder what money they're getting. They know.
The financial organization of a plan is absolutely critical. And I can tell you story after story after story of people that had to administer their parents' estates, their sister, their brother's estates.
It's a nightmare.
And it's a nightmare. They can't
And it can make children fight and destroy families.
Absolutely.
That's the worst part.
Absolutely. And so by having your financial house in order in one place, and this is why we put together the financial inventory binder, because all of your most important documents live in there. Your income plan, your estate planning documents, all of your tax documents, your investment documents, all your insurance policies. We even have a survivorship checklist in there of everything that needs to be done within 10 days of death, 30 days of death, 60 days of death, and within 6 months of death. So we give them a checklist of how to handle everything. Now, our clients' children will call us directly and we go through it. But when they're home and they're trying to figure out, everything's on there as far as you got to write the obituary, right? So this really, the binder itself, people absolutely love, because they want to be financially organized. I went to my doctor's recently, and it was a new doctor's office that I went to. And I was going to a doctor's office. It was a kind of a big box firm doctor's office. Yeah. And I would see a different doctor every single time. Nobody really knew my situation. I'd have to re-explain my situation every time I came in.
I don't like that.
Nobody knew who I was when I walked through the door. And there's a new place that opened up in Pittsburgh that gives you more personalized service. And so I went in, the doctor spent over an hour with me going through my medical records. I have, 2 physicals a year now. He spends over an hour and a half going through my physicals, going through my blood work. But you want to know what they gave me?
A relationship?
A binder.
Oh, really?
A binder with all my blood work and all my documents and everything. So now all my health records are right there. It's so great.
Okay, that's incredible.
It's incredible.
I've never heard of a doctor do that. It's a holistic approach.
It's a holistic approach. Now, here's why I was so impressed, because I've been giving binders out for years. And when somebody gave me a binder, I realized how awesome getting a binder is.
That's incredible. You'll have to tell me where that is.
Yeah.
I need to go see that doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think is the number one fear? And I know the answer to this. You told me about a study when they said to people getting close to retirement, are you more scared to die or run out of money.
Yeah.
What did they say?
They said they're more scared of running out of money more than they fear death alone. And that
that's
was done by
sad.
AARP.
Oh, it was. That's
Yeah,
so
that was
sad.
done by AARP. Yeah, yeah. But if you think about it, running out of money is a really scary thing. And I'll tell you that the worst day of retirement is not the day you run out. It's the day you figure out that you're going to run out of money, and there's nothing you can do to fix it.
Right.
And unfortunately, I meet those people, and it's usually because, again, people tend to procrastinate. They kick the can down the road. They keep their head in the sand, and they don't want to face the issues in front of them.
Right.
And so what happens is they get too far down the road, and you can't fix it sometimes.
There's also that sense of embarrassment. And I know you're at home going, yeah, I kind of embarrassed to say I spent more money on my makeup and shoes than I did on finances, but you're not alone. I
Right.
think you are very, very strong about making people realize there's nothing to be ashamed of because your industry has not done a good job.
No. And the good news is the industry is starting to change.
Yes.
You're seeing more and more advisors
Going
become-
independent.
going independent, becoming fiduciaries. But you go back 30 years ago, my industry was a transaction-based industry.
Yeah.
You were just, buying a stock or a bond or a mutual fund from individuals, and most people would never see their advisors. There wasn't annual reviews and things along those lines.
Right.
Now you're seeing a different generation of advisors come up through that are really taking the servicing part of it, very, very seriously. And it should have always been done that way.
But we had pensions, as you've pointed out so well so many times.
Correct.
Until 1978, it wasn't really a problem. We knew what we were going to get. When your
Yeah.
granddad retired, got that watch, you knew what you were going to get for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, you make a great point there.
So it's not our fault.
Yeah, you make a great point because you really didn't need to rely on the investment guy to give you a plan because you had maybe enough between Social Security and pensions. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
But today, your advisor really needs to be a coach, a planner, right? And someone that can really walk you through all the details that you're going to need to think about.
Yes.
And that's why we've surrounded our clients with a bunch of professionals at our office, which we'll talk about on next week's episode.
We're already out of time.
But, folks, I want you to take advantage of our Right Track Retirement Review. It really is designed to help you, give you more clarity, more peace of mind. So call today and schedule it. My team's waiting by to take your call and get you scheduled to come in. It's 1-888-382-1298. Again, 1-888-382-1298. Schedule your Right Track Retirement Review today. It's completely complimentary, no obligation, there's no sales pitch. Come on in today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. And thank you at home. We love you. We'll see you again next time.